Welcome everyone to Cut the Curve. I'm Philip Zweig. I've been an entrepreneur now for 23 years, and our show focuses on real estate, finance, and entertainment. And I'm honored to have Roderick Townsend here today. He's a two-time Olympian, 3 gold medals now.
Yeah,
Roderick, and going for more. So I'm honored to have you here, brother. Thanks for stopping by Cut the Curve to share your life and your story with people to help them out.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be here. It's, it's funny how stuff like this always works out just in the oddest of circumstances. Oddest of circumstances makes it sound weird, but just you never know who you're going to meet or when, and it's cool to be able to make connections like this very naturally and genuine. Just being in the gym, hanging out, you never know what's going to come from
For
the
sure.
next person they're having a
It's
conversation
all about
with.
the energy and attitude, positivity, and we met again at the gym in where we're.
It seems like just yesterday you were telling me, get the hell away from the mirror, man. I was like, my bad.
Funny. Good stuff. So you're here. We're here in Arizona now. I want to hear a little bit of backstory. Where did it all start, man? Because I don't talk to an Olympic athlete every day, and you're also an entrepreneur now.
Definitely.
And branching out. So
I'm from Stockton, California originally. Born and raised. I lived there until I decided to go to college. Went to Boise State. Grew up, very modestly. My mom was 15 years old when she gave birth to me. And, we just really had to grind, And,
was it just the two of you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until, I have my younger brother now as well. There are 5 of us all together. But, just when my mom was young, there was just the 2 of us, And
I couldn't imagine being 15 and having a baby.
And between her and my uncle, it really was an infectious environment growing up as far as hard work. I always tell people hard work is very infectious, and personalities in general are infectious, So just bringing that to the table. But so for myself, just growing up, so much of what I learned in sport is really just applying hard work and those other skills,
Was it what they said or what you observed?
Both, man, both. My mom, like I mentioned, she was a teenager when she gave birth to me, and now she's, making, dang near $250,000 a year. That's not supposed to be the story, And for myself,
love it.
Yeah, for myself, seeing what she was able to accomplish from where she came from
through hard work, guys.
Through hard work, exactly.
And grind and kicking ass and not being the victim, right?
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that all you can do is play the hand that you were dealt. So between her and my uncle, they both went through so much of adversity, and my life was tough, but it's nothing compared to what they had gone through, and that's what it's about, being a parent, being, and making opportunities for your kids that you wouldn't have, So for myself, we had been homeless at a point, or we had, but at the end of the day, it was always light at the end of the tunnel, and there was always
she gave you hope and belief, right?
Yeah, exactly. We never felt poor. We never, you know what I mean? It was the grind just never stopped, and that for me was something that growing up, I knew that if I were to do anything less than be great, I would have put all of her hard work would have been a disservice, And for me, it was just a matter of continuing that story that she began, And that's what I'm doing till this day. So
shout out to what's your mom's name?
Mary,
Shout
Mary.
out to Miss Mary for making a great man. So we all learn it from someone. So if we don't have great parents, I'm blessed too to have great parents. Every Wednesday now I spend lunch with them, and before I didn't, but I think it's important. Your parents are here for so long, so make it a priority, guys. So. If you don't have great parents, or you got to find a mentor or someone a coach. I don't know what your uncle did for you, but did he coach you? How did you get into sports? Did they put you?
No. So my uncle, he was there as a father figure in my life. That was his role for me, However, as far as sports go, my mom just wanted me to be busy.
So she put you in everything.
It was really just football, actually. I played football, growing up.
Were you always this, because if you guys were sitting, obviously Rod is 6'7", so you're a tall person.
Yeah. So I've always been on the taller side, especially when I got to high school, I really shot up. And I really enjoyed playing football, and that's what I went to school for, went to college for.
At Boise State?
Yeah. Okay. And then just fell in love with track. Tight end, yeah. So I'm naturally way bigger than this. I mean, like, realistically, I'm probably around 210 right now, but like when I was playing football, like my freshman year in college, I was about 240. So 30 pounds just, and that was an easy 240. I mean, like, that's just like,
nowadays these athletes get so big, like, so fast. The linemen are like, we're in Chandler, Arizona. This place has a lot of 5-star recruits. Big kids out here in high school.
Yeah, Chandler's no joke.
Getting to college, what was that like? You were highly recruited at a tight end, or you were just like,
trash,
did you walk on, or what happened?
It was just really a matter of just working hard, and went there as a walk on essentially. But got offered a track scholarship while I was there, and just made the most of the opportunity.
Did you know about the gift you had in track before?
I had no clue. I mean, I had people tell me like, "Oh, you should give it a shot," but just didn't really pursue it like that. And when the opportunity did finally present itself, I mean, it was super exciting to be able to see that there's something that I could excel at, and it was really a matter of having that support system around me. I felt like I was at home, just due to the nature of not the sport, but the coaches that were
in that culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Culture is so big. I mean, especially in the business world, as we get older, like, if it has to start at the top, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have that leader and that culture, definitely don't work with it. It doesn't usually change. Like, look at the sports teams, the San Antonio Spurs, the top of the top.
Mm-hmm. So like I just really fell in love with track, and I felt like it was a place where I was just truly being motivated, and it was the first time somebody told me, outside of my family, wow, you can really be great at something.
So they believed in you before
I even knew what I was capable of. Yeah. And I'm fortunate that I've had the same coach now for 11 years, and we've been remote for 9 of the 11 years, but we just connect in a really good way. And for myself, being a coach myself, and doing this at a high level and coaching at a high level already, it's one of those things where I'm very picky about who I can work with. I mean, I'm sure you can relate, like, for somebody to come on to one of your projects as an advisor, they would have to bring something to the table that would allow you to be able to not ask questions that, or
just trust them completely.
Exactly.
Again, because we can only do so many things on our own, but to be great, you need those great people on the team. And like, it's for me with interior designers. They show me the ideas, like being there and seeing them, but they're the creative force behind big projects.
I feel that.
And you just got to trust your coach. Like, that's what you do, I'm sure.
And it's funny, jumping ahead, like, that's one of the funniest things about, like, myself with the short-term rentals and Airbnbs, et cetera, is like, I really enjoy every aspect of it. I mean, when I got my first property, I was the one cleaning it for the first year. Just figured
so important, Ron. I just stayed at my Glendale one, and I was like an inspector. Like, I was there's like 14 things here that need to be done. Dude, but as an owner, we don't know. We have to set the standard, like we were talking about. And that's why you were cleaning your own units in the beginning, because you got to know everything.
Everything from the ins and outs, and just understanding what the workflow is like, what the process is like. And
how can I ask them to do it if I don't do it? That's my mentality. I want to know what they have to do.
And it's funny now having, 15 properties in Louisville, and, hiring new staff, and some of the new people think, oh, this dude doesn't know. No, I know more than you think. But and
if you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a disservice, guys and girls out there.
And like I was just in Louisville last weekend, and immediately, I mean, I had just gotten out the car, walking up to the front porch. I was like, "What is wrong with?" It was like the screen door was like bent in a weird way. Super easy fix, but I was like, "Why have I not been told about this?" You know, but like,
and it may sound like we're being picky ass to you guys on it, but
it's
details
matter because we're at the mercy of the guests in the best way possible. That's what hospitality is about, and just understanding that, you know, when we go through and stage these properties, that the goal is to make it photo ready, and when guests arrive, they expect to see what they've seen in the photos, which is a very reasonable request, you know?
100%. And over time, though, things blow down, things shift.
Exactly.
We just need people having our backs that will do that without being told.
Exactly. Like, I just need eyes. Can you please be my eyes?
Yes.
And understand that we have 1,000 things going on. So if you need to remind me about something, don't hesitate to remind me about something. The worst thing for me is hearing, "Oh, I told you about that in January," or "I thought you already knew."
Yes.
No. What do you? No.
Yes. So I always say, please send me a text reminder or email, because we'll talk, but you got 1,000 things. I got things going on too. I'm like,
exactly.
Please text.
Exactly.
And then we have a tracking system to do it. But if you guys want to be elite and stand out, the details. I mean, we're going to talk more about your training and all that stuff, but I'm sure your pinpoint, like, everything is tracked when you're really preparing. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and one thing about a lot of these traits that allow me to be a good athlete, I always tell people that their skills are not, a monolith, essentially. Like, no, like hard work, you can apply that to everything that you do, you know. Attention to detail, you can apply that to everything that you do. Routine too. Like, I got to do the same thing over until you master it. And that's what I see, Rod. A lot of people will get into, let's say, wholesaling real estate, and they try it for 3 months. All right. Give your guy a year, 2 years, 3. I mean, like, build a foundational stuff. And that's what I really preach, because anything's achievable if you put effort, energy. It's a universal law, right? Seriously. And it's so much fun. The fun part, the travel, definitely. And the residual too. Just today, guys, I was with my parents, and I don't know if you've done this yet, Rod, but PeerSpace. Have you used PeerSpace at all? So it's a site where people, photographers, videographers, they can book your house per hour. Oh, yes. That's what I'm signing up today. Send me a referral code. I will sign up today. Yeah. I will have Shayna. Shout out to Shayna. She handles our PeerSpace. And again, what it is they rent it out, and it syncs with our Airbnb, VRBO calendars. And so she was real excited because she just set this up. It was a little pain to set it up, but now it's set up. She's like, it's going to be great. Nice. She has experience. And so we got our first booking for Friday, and it's like $1,050 for like 5 hours or something crazy. That's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. So that type of stuff, it's value add. And exactly. And that's one of the things, like I tell people all the time. So I still do all of the property management and the guest relations and stuff. Yeah. So myself and my business partner, we do, all the guest relations. We plan on handing that off, sometime at the end of this year is the goal. Smart. I think it's great to learn it, so whoever's taking over, they're not going to snowball. Like, hey, exactly. It doesn't work. Well, I've done it. Like, exactly. You can't pull it over, man. Yeah, and we that's what I was talking about. Like the ROI for doing Airbnb, man, like, or short-term rentals in general, is amazing. But people got to understand that it's not passive income. Like, it's a lot of work, but you get your money's worth. You 100%, I feel like. Anything worth anything, guys, is going to be work. Yeah. So eventually I feel with systems and processes it can be very passive, but
exactly. But you have to work to get through that. Exactly.
The hurdles, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so in order to make it passive, you have to put in so much work.
Yeah. And
to even get to that point. And yeah, like at a certain point you can call it passive income, but is it really if you've worked?
It's a good point.
To make that a reality, you know.
Yeah. I can just tell you this because I used to fix and flip, and you talk about work. That's work. Like, and that's hard work because you have a house and you have so many moving parts. I should say that's kind of dumb work, and I know people still make money at fix and flip. I'm not against it, but this is more smart work to at least where I'm at in my you know, age and performance and stuff like that. I love the passive. So-called passive, but
but yeah, like it's not like you can have a couple of days where you don't do anything. It's really nice. And my first house that I had on Airbnb actually was the triplex I told you about before we started. It was so I think it was built in 1905. So
wow, that is historic.
Yeah, exactly. So I have one house built in 1905, one house built in 1910, and both of them had to be completely gutted and started over.
So you just left the slab, or like?
Oh no, we left the. I mean, so one good thing about houses built in 1905 is
I've never done one. I think mine was like 55.
The lumber that they use on that thing is sturdy. I mean, like there were a few 10 by 10s. Like I've never seen an actual 10 by 10 just like. But so like we kept the exterior, but like the entire interior. I mean
the pipes, the
pipes, electrical, everything. We had our electrician who. So the only thing I didn't do myself was the electric. I don't know how to do that. I'll do.
Wait a minute, you're handy.
Yeah,
you can build stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when we bought so we bought our first place and during COVID, and I said to myself, well, I. Not competing, not doing anything. I'd never done anything like this before. And I was like, worst case scenario, I mess it up and pay somebody to fix it. I might as well just see what I could do, and I didn't mess anything up. But I knew the one thing I wouldn't just try electrical. But we had the electrician come in. He had been doing it for, he said like 50 years. And we took, he came in because we took all the walls down because we had the old lath and plaster and everything in there. And he said, I've never seen electric like this in person. It was the old knob and tube wiring. It was,
Oh my goodness. So not only, you got the hardest of the hard, right?
Yeah. So he was like, there's no way you could have ran a blender and turned on your TV at the same time.
Oh my Wow.
So it was really cool to be able to take it from what it was to what it is.
That's extreme.
And I think that.
So how many years ago was that?
That was in 2020.
Okay, you said COVID.
And it's been a lot of fun since, just being able to enjoy all the hard work that was put into it. But at the same time, one of the coolest things having a house that old is I'm not in Louisville all that often, but when I am there, like it was a few months ago, I was in town for something and a car pulls up and I was like, well, this isn't check-in time. It's around 1 o'clock. They shouldn't be here this early. So I go, hey, can I help you with anything? And the guy steps out of the car. Hey, my grandma used to live here.
Ooh, okay.
Back in the 70s.
Wow.
And I was like, well, come check it out,
And
I come and I show her the house and everything. But that's happened like 2 or 3 times where people just drive by, and I can so relate, knowing that a lot of times when I go back home to Stockton, I like to drive by the old places that I stayed at. So it's nice to have a house that's.
I was born in Gary, Indiana.
Oh, right over the way. Yeah.
So my parents lived.
The home of Michael Jackson.
Yes, man. Shout out Michael. Yeah. So it's a steel mill place, hard work, blue collar. Yeah. So it was a great. I was born there, but then I moved to Valparaiso, Indiana, smaller community, and my parents lived in that same house for like 40 years. Yeah, so we would go back every fall break and visit them and go in the woods and play with. My kids are older now, but it was always nostalgic. So when we would go back and see them in Valpo, they'd take me to Gary, where I was born, though. So it was just, I feel you when you say going back to Stockton or wherever to see your old stomping place is fun.
Yeah, so like I know that it always feels good for people for myself at least, to be able to show people the inside of the house as well. Like it's one thing to see the outside, but being able to invite people.
Here's 40 years or 50 years of, has it been love? Because every house, if it's love, it has a personality and stuff, right? So.
Exactly. So they always going, oh, this used to be this, and this used to be right here, and it was cool though. Like,
love it.
It was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you're doing some big things, man. Not only in athletics, but sport or business. Now, 15 and 3 years, and building that. And I got into it about the same time too. So I bought my first one. 2019 December in Phoenix. It's called Sky Harbor. It's right by the airport over there.
Nice.
And that I paid $180,000 for. And so I closed January 7th. I know that because that's my favorite grandma's birthday. And right about a week later, we got a booking because it was already short term already for 8 years. But then COVID hit me in March that year, and I was going to buy 5 others, and I didn't. And I'm like, shit, I should have. So don't shoulda, woulda. Just do it, man, because COVID was the best time.
Thing
It helped us so much.
So much.
But it's changed since then, right?
Definitely.
I mean, last year was a big change, and our market across the country has shifted. Real estate prices have fallen. So I don't know if you own arbitrage, but we could talk more about that. But it's kind of like a science experiment too in the beginning, because you take certain properties. I had a handful that just weren't working after COVID, and so the last few months I've been selling these properties off, and thank God I've been able to move them and move into different product. But I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have got those properties. So it's all like testing.
Yeah, exactly. So we own 7 of them, and the other are arbitrage through an apartment complex.
Same apartment or different?
Different.
Apartments?
Yeah, exactly. So sorry. So 7 of them are all in the same apartment building. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just so funny. So like we started Airbnb because I remember we were living in an apartment complex and my wife didn't like it. She could hear the neighbors upstairs and downstairs, so we decided, okay, we'll go and rent a house somewhere. And we only had like 3 months left on our lease, so we decided, hey, we will just throw the apartment up on Airbnb and just try to make up the difference.
Gotcha.
And we didn't have internet, we didn't have a TV. We didn't have all we had was a mattress. It was a 1-bedroom.
Whose idea was this?
Mine.
Okay.
I told them.
What was your wife saying about it?
She was happy to be moving.
Oh, she's just like, get me out of here.
We get to get out of here? Okay, cool. So we had a sofa, no TV, and a bed.
Okay.
And we made $1,000 a month off of it.
Holy cow.
And I said to myself, okay, this is probably
there's something
here. And during that same time, my buddy, who's my business partner now, he was competing overseas in Europe, so he threw his house up on Airbnb. Also, in the worst circumstances possible, he had no cleaner. He would tell the guests, come in and clean up. They're
just like, what is this, a Wild West?
Yeah, exactly.
And leave your money on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because guest expectations in the market that you're in are so vastly different, to say the least, because he was in Raleigh, North Carolina when he was having his guests act as cleaners, and this man was a super host, 5 stars, and he got back at the end of the summer and was like, this place is disgusting. How
are they staying?
Yeah, exactly. So
Holy shit.
So we have the bright idea between the two of us. We both realized that we don't want to work forever for somebody else, at least, and we decided, hey, like I told him I was planning on buying a house. I always wanted to get into real estate in some aspect, but then this happened. I was like, okay, Airbnb would be cool. And that's when I stumbled across a triplex that I wanted to buy. And the thought went away for a little while, but like 7 months later, it popped up on the market again for like $30,000 cheaper. The same triplex, okay. Yeah. And so I got a triplex, and it was what, $220,000.
Had you ever bought a house, or was that your first purchase?
First purchase. So yeah.
First purchase, was it invest? The purpose was to live or
invest? Yeah. Okay. So I knew that, okay, I can start by moving in, and I can stay in the nicest part. None of it was nice, but I can stay in the nicest part and start renovating the worst part, and then have the renovated portion become the Airbnb, and just slowly, move it around.
And this was after the one bedroom that barely had a couch or whatever. And it was but you learn so much on those things. So my first guest shows up. And man, I tell you, so we had a huge front yard, by the way. Like, it's about the size of your backyard as our front yard. Holy cow, it's a big backyard.
So we, they're staying there for about 4 days or something like that. Or no, it was 2 to 3 days. And I remember waking up in the morning because they had checked in the night before. The unit slept about 12 people. So I hear in the morning, 1, 2. I look out the window from the upstairs unit, an entire football team's in the front yard with pads, pads on.
Oh my God.
Doing hit drills. Doing hit drills. And I say to the person, hey,
this is crazy.
You booked for 12 people. There are 30 here. And they say, oh, well, they're not all staying the night. I don't care who's staying the night, who's not staying. I'm sure that they are all staying the night.
It's so funny that Rod attracted him because he's a former football player.
Yeah,
I was like, karma back at you. And how did that happen?
Dude, just people wanting to get over. Just people wanting to get over,
and they do,
And they do.
And good thing you were there to
moderate it, So we ended up charging them, and this is my first guest, so I talked about business.
Your very first guest, you always have a crazy story, guys. You'll see when. That's insane.
And we charged them. Not nearly enough. I think it was like $250, and they gave us a 3-star for value. And that's one of the toughest things about.
And that's why we're moving away from certain platforms.
Yes, because it is so obnoxious to have a person's incompetence reflect negatively on.
I'm a super host for 3 years, and they just joined Airbnb, and you're gonna side with them? It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just
changed,
crazy.
you guys. So definitely do your research. Talk to me, Rod, whoever, about where to go, what platforms,
because the goal is always to get as much off platform as you can.
100%.
And we've actually liked Verbal a lot.
We have too. That's a new one for us the last 6 months. Good job, Kiana. She's handling that.
Yeah,
she's crushing it.
It's been amazing. And fortunately for us, we realized really quick that Louisville has, my bad, I'm jumping all over the place. I could move. When we bought the duplex, I told my buddy, I was like, hey, I need, I got all this down payment money put into it, but if you can buy all the furniture for the unit, then we can be, partners essentially. He was like, okay, say less, let's do it, So it was cool to be able to, and him and I, when we were in college together, we had a business where we would buy couches off Craigslist and clean them up and sell them. So we were
couch flipping.
Yeah, we were flipping couches in college.
Ryan Panetta does. I don't know if you know. Ryan's a teacher out in Vegas, and that's where he started. He flips a shit ton of houses now. And you guys were making money off that?
Yeah, we bought our first sofa because when we moved in together, we were like, well, let's get a big old sectional sofa. We bought it and it was gross. We bought it for like $30, and we cleaned it up and we sat back and we looked at it after about 3 hours of cleaning the sofa. We were like, we could probably sell this, and we put it on Craigslist. Sold it for $400. We were like, let's buy another one.
What's that ROI? Whoever's got their calculator watching.
Exactly. So we were doing that all summer, just buying and selling sofas. At one point, we had like 4 sofas in the house, but just getting those things out.
Bro.
And we've always just clicked really well.
And that's your business partner now.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing, man. I got a good friend, Joe Serrano. He's a boxer, and I've met him at ASU back in the day, but he's like, you're the only guy that's ever been honest in real estate, because we did like 4 years of, I'm like, there's honest people out there, but like you got to vibe with someone. If you're going to enter a joint venture, I know a lot of people talk about collab and joint ventures. You just look through everything before you jump into stuff, right? I would just advise that, because I've had great partnerships that I didn't expect, and then I had some that just blew up, but gotta know someone, man.
Yeah, and we balance each other out well enough. I'm more on the aggressive end of things. He's on the more conservative end of things. But our inspiration, our
energy,
hunger is the same.
Your energy is probably the same. Your hunger, but why would you want to do just like you? Like, you don't want someone
exactly. We would be broke right now if we were both the same.
Right, right. And those are the best partners. Like, you have someone that has this type of, maybe he's an analytical mind, and you're more of the dog in the street, finding deals, whatever.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, I mean, I will find something, I will close on deals, I will find cleaners, I will find, that's what I do.
And that's what makes, and I think, trust goes a long way, man. If you tell me you're going to do it, it's done.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not having to micromanage or babysit. So that's cool. And it's out there. And let's go back to your mentor, your coaches that you've been with for 11 years. Was that intentional, or did that just kind of fall? Were you looking for a coach, or was that the Boise State?
That was the coach of Boise State. So he ended up having to leave after my first year at Boise State. So I was with him for that first year. Boise, they ended up not hiring another coach for my event group as a decathlete. So I just did the stuff that he had taught me, essentially. And after that, I moved to Flagstaff, and I was the jumps coach at Northern Arizona. And he would send me workouts for myself, so we would do stuff remotely, and then I would train the athletes with the workouts that I created as well. And I was at NAU from 2014 to 2018.
Coaching, or
coaching? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When was the Olympics?
2016.
That was the last one you were in?
No, so Rio 2016 was the first one.
That was the very first one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I was at NAU coaching during the first time that I, went to the Olympics. So
gotcha.
Yeah. And it was a really cool time to just be, I was gonna say it's a cool time to be me, but it was a cool time in my life. I mean,
I mean, that must have been an amazing experience. Like a kid from Stockton. Like, did you ever dream of going to the Olympics?
No, man. And I think that was the crazy thing. Like, when you stand on top of the podium and the national anthem plays, like, you never know what you're going to feel or think of. Yeah. And for myself, like, it wasn't all the training, it wasn't everything that I had done. All I thought about was all the hard work that my mom and my uncle put in to be able to make that a reality. So for myself, it was very emotional.
Put into you everything.
Because that was the first time, although I know that my mom and my uncle, my family was so proud of me, but that was the first time where I felt like their hard work was worth it. And it felt like such a relief. Not to say that I was ever pressured into doing it or anything, but like for myself, I understood what they went through. And that was a way for me to give back to them, as far as just...
Was that your big... Because we talk about why a lot on the show, whether business... sports translates a lot to business, let's face it. Like, athletes are very successful in business world nowadays because they know what discipline, hard work is. So what was your why?
Yeah, that was my why at the time. And I think that it's important for people to understand that it's okay for your why to be dynamic. It should forever be changing, because once you accomplish that why, what's next? You know? And it took me until, I remember after Rio, it was going into 2018, and I was like in a slump, and I didn't know what my new why was.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And
was it the way you were feeling? What do you mean by a slump? Like, was it at events?
It was just, no, I mean, I competed well. I just didn't want to do it.
You didn't have it like...
Yeah, I wasn't a dog. I didn't have the fire in me. I was competing well still, but like,
winning? Were you winning?
Yeah. Okay. And I just didn't...
It didn't
feel like I had a reason. I didn't feel like I had a reason to be doing it anymore. So once I took that time, and I mean, I was close to retiring in 2018, and I talked to my coach, And I said to him, hey,
I mean, that's a big thing, right? You put so much time in that particular sport.
And I was, good enough as a coach. I got a lot of job opportunities and offers and everything as a coach. So I was like, I've done everything. I literally did everything that I could do as an athlete.
You thought you did everything, exactly. But maybe you had some outside influence that said, hey, you still got it in you.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was, I remember I was retired for 2 weeks. I was retired for 2 weeks, man.
And don't tell me Tom Brady's coming back.
Yeah, and I said to myself, I remember I was like, it was just one day, and I said to myself, man, I wonder what if I would have had an opportunity to just focus on myself as an athlete? Because up until this point, I was a student athlete, and then when I went to NAU, I got my master's degrees because they gave me a free degree, but I was a coach, a student, and an athlete.
Look at that, man. Again, I always ask you viewers, how many hours in a week? I don't know if you know, but as a coach, I ask students at 168 hours. Like, we could do whatever we set our mind, as long as we time block and like intentional. You were doing that sounds like a
it was
lot.
And I was burnt out, and that's when I said to myself, like I remember saying, what if I was just an athlete? How good could I really be? And that killed
complete
me.
Focus.
That it killed me to
inside.
Say,
you mean
to say because I was like, dude, you're 24, asking yourself, what if? What?
Ooh, man, I
was like, you got way too much life ahead of you to be asking yourself, what if?
Man,
and I made it a mission to always be able to say, 5 years from now, I'm not going to have a what if.
Love it. Because how could you encourage others if you're going to be like doubting your what ifs or I should have did that? I'm like, I don't want to should.
And that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is what if. I don't want any of them. I don't want any what ifs.
Regrets
I'd rather crash and bomb and fail and know that I tried than to
And that's the thing I love about this podcast. I walk out, I'm like, I learned a ton, but it's about getting. For guys, and girls, bigger kahunas, basically, because if you're not, and it's always this thing comes up, Rod, like I'm going to this big Miami conference. I went in Scottsdale. Some of these people own like 10,000 properties, and like I don't want to be the smartest person like in any room because it doesn't get us to where we need to evolve and grow. Yeah,
man, and I think that it's crazy because like when like I said, I went from 0 properties to 15 and doing it remotely, man, and just such a short amount of time. And
so tell me more about that why though, about that pivotal moment when you were 24, you had to reconsider everything, man. You were at your darkest moment. Sounds like you were emotionally not like.
Well, it was for me, like as a coach, I know that I'm going to give it my all because of the fact that I'm doing it. So I'm going to give it my all, and I understand that I got people's futures. They're relying on me, and I'm going to do everything that I can for them to be in the position that I know where they want to be, and I'm going to do everything I can to get them there. So I had to decide at that point, do I want to continue to coach or continue to be an athlete? And I was like, man, you've given, a lot of yourself. Now it's an opportunity to just be selfish. You've already established a career. You have a degree. You've already put together a resume for
I can feel you
if it doesn't work out.
I can feel you because it's the same for me. Like I was a single dad, so I raised 2 kids, but they're both like very book smart. But I sacrificed some work stuff where I could have been like a little higher in certain things, but it's okay. Like now I got that time to shine and work on me and my empire versus other stuff. Exactly. Like now it's time for, and that's what happened to you in the 2000, what was it?
That was 2018,
2018, you decided to come back
so that
after
was
2 weeks of retirement.
Yeah, exactly. So I called my coach and I was like, because he was coaching at San Jose State at the time. And I said to him, hey, I'm going to just be moving to San Jose and I'm going to train with you. I'm done coaching.
That's all you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any other commitments? Anything else?
Aside from my wife. Yeah, but we had just got married.
Hopefully that's a co.
We just got married, and she was like, "Oh, move to Cali." She was like, "Oh, we're gonna move to Cali." I was like, "Yep." She said, "Okay, let's do it." Nice. And I'm talking to my coach. He was like, "Well, actually, I just got the job at the University of Louisville."
Oops.
So I was like, looks like we're moving to Louisville.
And you will do that for someone that motivates, inspires, will get you to where you want to be. You just know that vibe that you guys had.
That's what I wanted. That was my, you know, hey, I want to go. I want to be with my coach, and I'm going to tear it up, you know. And going into the 2019 season, that's exactly what I was able to accomplish. And it's just been an amazing journey, but just understanding, like, going through those valleys and understanding what got me out of them has always been so.
What did get you out there? I'm still like, was it your faith? Was it your why changed? Like, because I'm sure, like, for myself, I've been through some deep, dark stuff, and you know, we each have our different reasons to pull us out, you know, and help us. Yeah.
So for the first games, it was a matter of, you know, like, I didn't realize what my why was until after it was done. But, you know, I had that chip on my shoulder. I was hungry. I, you know, wanted to be the best. I wanted to, you know, do that, and I accomplished it. And then going into 2018. So 2018, and now I know this. So it's a non-championship year is what it's called. No World Championships, no Olympics. A lot of people deal with that wanting to retire thing. I hadn't known it at the time.
Gotcha. Because that's a natural, like,
exactly.
thought process.
Yeah, and but for myself, it was also a matter of, you know, so that was when my why changed to, I never want to ask myself what if again.
Gotcha. That full circle, that makes sense. Yeah.
And
I see what you're saying.
And even still, with that being one of my whys, I mean, my why this year is I'm the bad, like, I look at myself like I'm the bad guy. I want to make sure your dreams don't come true. I want to make sure that I get as many of these gold medals as possible. I want to make sure that you were always close, but not close enough.
Love it.
Like, and for myself, like, it's such a fun experience. It's
so, you know, that's your, like, you just, like, go to that next level zone when you're
so that's what this year has been for me. I'm the bad guy. And that's a story. So it's a story we tell. Like, we all make up stories, whether they motivate or make you stay inside all day and not go out. So tell your guys a good, inspiring story. Like, for me, I am grateful every day. I listen to a YouTube video now, Rod, and it's when I'm shaving, whatever, getting ready, and it's thank you for the air I breathe. And you know, my perspective changes on life. It's not about me anymore. It's about and you realize how big it all is.
It's big, but again, self-love too, and knowing that you don't want to look back on your dreams, because you have to, you know, you have to help yourself so you can help others. They have to, you have to inspire in them, in yourself, what they see in you. So it's.
Yeah, man, I'm already seeing a part 2 coming from us.
This has been a great show. But so 3 golds. You got the 20. Is it 23, 24? I'm not good with
24.
Years. 24. And how many can you win up there?
The goal is 2. So goal? Long jump and high jump. I want to, you know, make sure that I do what I need to do. And my plan is to go into LA. We have LA in 2028, and just want to give myself the best opportunity to be successful in the, you know, in the future. So just taking it day by day.
Do you have some role models that you look up to from the Olympic Games?
None. I mean, like, it's because you didn't. That's so. I mean, you're like a shooting star because you didn't get into this field until you were after. Like, was it after college or in college? In college, right? So a lot of kids train younger. And I mean, I guess if I'm more fond of people now than I was at the beginning of my career, and it's so much of it is understanding that, like, when you do turn 30, there's such a bad misconception with what you're capable of doing at that point. But I've been one of the fortunate ones. I've never dealt with injuries. I've never dealt with anything that stopped me from training.
Technology's changed. I don't know what you do on your body or what kind of rest and recovery.
Nothing, dude. I just eat food.
He's just regular, a genetic freak.
That's my skill. Like, I'm fortunate enough. That's my, you know, that's the gift that I was given, is I just don't get hurt.
And again, you brought it up earlier, Rod. The cards were dealt in life. That's a card you play your best to, and we got other cards we got to play our best to that are not serving us. We got to figure out how to make them serve us.
And so for myself, like, I mean, the triple jump world record holder, he broke the world record when he was 36. You know, the Olympic champion in the women's high jump, she won it at 39 or 40. So like to be able to see people do such amazing things
at that age, is it that specific sport they're doing?
Well, in jumps and sprints, I mean, like in jumps especially, you can be really good. Like your prime is 30 to 33, assuming you're healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's when you have the knowledge of this sport and
How big is the core in your sport? How big does the midsection?
Oh, I mean, it's everything. I mean, but it's also so much of understanding that everything you do requires your core already. So like there's hardly any training sessions where it's like, oh, we're focusing on abs, because if you're doing cleans, if you're doing jerks, if you're sprinting, I mean, you have
to be engaged though. Like I know a lot of young athletes don't understand how important it is to everything's core work.
Yeah, like when I'm doing heels, for example, we were doing heels a couple weeks ago, and I was with some of the younger guys, and they were like, "Oh, my hamstrings." I was like, "Man, my abs are sore." Like because it's just that engaged during that specific workout, and it's not necessarily something I completely have to focus on at this point, but it's engaged.
But you learned, I think, over time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just felt it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So, man, do you have any questions for me?
Man, I got so many questions for you. I don't think I got enough time though.
Because I thoroughly
like I said, we definitely need a part two, man. I got so much that I want to learn from you, especially living in Arizona now. I definitely want to get in this market a little bit. Just not so much Airbnb. But more midterm, long-term rentals, just something a bit more low-key to diversify my portfolio a little bit.
Our focus is 3 things. So it's really, we saw the normal, like you throw a bag couch, that stuff doesn't really work. If you want to do that, you have to have like a theme, I'd say. Do a theme. Mm-hmm. The other thing, we just signed up a couple midterms, which means 28 days or more. Very lucrative. Yeah. And then the third is luxury. Yeah. Other than
I believe that,
yeah, because again, Airbnb, they have their algorithm. It's not for us as superhosts anymore. Yeah, it's not.
And it's crazy because the market, like the guests that I have in Louisville, we only have 2 slow months in the entire year. December and January.
Okay.
Outside of that, because a lot of people are driving from north to south or from east to west, west to east, most of them decide to go through Louisville or have to go through Louisville. And then during the summertime, there are a lot of concerts. We're getting ready for the Kentucky Derby.
Nice. In a couple and are these direct bookings or Airbnb?
A little bit of everything.
But you're starting to get away from Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? The same reason as me, or?
Yeah, and essentially, it's so frustrating to be told how to take care of my house. Or, for example, one of the guests, they said, and I know it isn't true, but they said, "Hey, there's mold in the apartment." Okay, that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
They told Airbnb.
But I feel like there's people that know the tricks.
Yeah.
They know how. Or if they see one thing, then they'll...
It's so easy to get a refund, man.
Nowadays,
They told Airbnb that there was mold. Airbnb told us, hey, there's mold in your apartment. We said, hey, well, the guest didn't send us any photos. Can you tell us more? The Airbnb rep says, sorry, unfortunately, I can't tell you anymore, but hopefully you can take care of the problem. And I'm like... If there was mold, because I know there's not.
Exactly.
You can't even tell me where it's at in my house.
Yeah. Airbnb, I'm sorry. There's a lot of, we're calling BS. Yeah. We're calling a lot of BS. And I had so many, recently we've had a couple that.
Yeah, and don't get me started on air cover. God forbid you have to take care of anything that costs more than $350. Like, it's such a show.
Yes.
You got to jump through so many hoops. And
the issue with Airbnb, and my dad or mom told me today, is it's so easy to become a host nowadays. Anyone. And so they're saturated with hosts. Mm-hmm. They don't care about us as super hosts. They don't care about us
at all. Exactly.
It's like, we don't care. It's about revenue for them.
Yeah, because in 2019, even 2020, it was, you could be a host and like, it felt like you were taking care of. Now I'm getting emails at 3 a.m. Hey, from Airbnb support. Like, why are you guys always messaging me?
Or they try to call you at 3 a.m. I said, hey, me and my girl, whoever, your wife, the kid, everyone's sleeping. Don't call the phone.
And it's not like they have any note on your account or anything like that. Or you'll get a message at 4 a.m. Hey, you got to respond to this within an hour. Otherwise, what?
So you're always going to get the real stuff on Cut the Curve, you guys.
So I tell you, we need a part 2 and part 3.
We'll have a part 2, but I hope you guys learned a lot. I learned from today, I'd say, through our discussion with a soon-to-be 3-time Olympic. Olympic. Gold medalist. He will win the gold out there. I learned hard work again. It sounds easy, but simple, but gosh, just hard work. Don't do it yourself before you ask anyone else to do it. I would say that, right, bro?
It's so simple, man. Like there's a place that I like to eat at in Westgate. They make the best burritos, right? I absolutely love them. But it reminds me a lot of like what training is like. I tell people it's the best because they have the simple stuff is done the best. The tortillas are amazing. The carne asada is amazing. You got to do those simple things right. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, whoever's making it, they're happy to make it. They're happy, their passion behind it. Just like your properties. Like if I were to go there and stay, I'm sure I'd be happy because you go there and you check it out. You want to make people feel happy. So I really feel like that's the key to life and the key to success. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to be launching Rod in a couple weeks on our YouTube channel, Cut the Curve. And where do people hear about you or follow you?
The Jump Addict on Instagram. Yeah, and you could go to thejumpaddict.com if you want to find out more about everything that I got going on with upcoming competitions and getting ready for the Paris Games in 2024.
France. Sweet. Well, thanks again, brother.
Hey,
Loved having you. Hope you guys enjoy.
Cut it.
Boom.